Good morning. Got the stream started here on YouTube. If you're watching on TikTok, we also have a YouTube, ATA_trader, TRADER. You can watch it there, or you can just go to bodjock.com and we have it under community events right here. So you can see this is the one I'm literally doing now. I still got to delete that. This was a mistake, so that's why you see the delete here, and then I'd upload the video, so I'll correct that. But regardless, you can watch it right here just by clicking on it. It pops right up on your screen, you hit play. So let's jump into it. TikTok, I wish I had my tripod today, but I got a notification from Amazon that said, thanks for your order, but we're delayed again. So now they're saying like between the 11th and the 12th. So jerks. Not much I can do with that. So I'm going to try to do my best to keep the screen centered to where you can see what I'm talking about. But if you can't see it, I'll try to express it just by talking. So today's Friday. We got lots of news going on out there. Biggest one I would say for us to watch is going to be our PPI here. That's literally right now, so we'll see how that all pans out. We had a great day trading yesterday. Francisco, if you're on here, man, you've just been absolutely killing it. Y'all can see TikTok, that was his day there, so he cleared 1,000. He's been clearing about 1,000 almost every single day from these rooms. So those that aren't joining these rooms, man, we're giving out the free training, free guidance and teaching you options pretty much for free. In our community, I mean, we sell the products. We have the automated trading, we have custom indicators, all that stuff. So, yeah, look at that, the PPI dropping. All right, so let's talk about yesterday. Let's talk about yesterday. Where was there it is. I was looking for that big boom. So first off, indicators caught it absolutely perfectly. You can see we caught the short on the end of Wednesday. We caught the long right there. On market open, this printed like instantly once the market opened. Plenty of room to make some money on the way up. And in full transparency, I was a little upset with this right here because I saw the long print. I saw the Dow futures were pushing north. I was like, man, it's going up. And I instantly did a pretty decent size call. And for those who trade options, you guys know this, it just didn't get picked up. So it didn't pick up my order, it took off. Literally this opening candle was like almost $1 around. It would have been massive money. So I was a little bummed about that, but I didn't want to chase this, so I did not trade this call here, although my trend line here that we've had, remember we talked about this for a while, played out well. It did give another entry point because we came back. We had another push north, signaling that we had some more room to go. I was telling everybody in the room, I just did not see the news that came out, in the CPI. It wasn't bullish, wasn't bearish. I mean, it was one of those things where it was bearish, but it was like, people can argue not that bearish because it wasn't as much as they expected it to be. And that price already gets kind of priced in. I mean, think about it. We're like, $10, $11 below where we were, just a week ago. So when I talked about that, I said, I think this is going to be a fake push north. And so we were kind of waiting for that put entry. We did end up entering the put entry. We were kind of so I marked this as a potential bull flag, but I told him, I said, I don't really like it in the room. We were also watching the fact that we just flipped the 21 SMA and we kept acting as resistance, and we kind of had like this double top look, right? And so the double top came through. I told them if we get a close below here, as well as we kind of hang below it, which we did, then we want to take that put. And so many of us took the put in here. We rode that down, made some good money. And then we just kind of waited, right, to see if this trend line was going to hold. It pumped back up. On this one, I think this is the stretch that I flipped it and took a little call scalp. And then, when we came into here, one of the things I had called, I said, be really careful because taking the puts, because we did have a potential inverse head and shoulder forming, right? But I had called it after I had seen this head right here. That's what I was looking for. But I said we need to have, somewhat of a clean shoulder. So we came up, we tried to come down to form that shoulder, and then it just collapsed, right? And so like what I teach everybody in that the room is when you get that collapse like that, it's invalidated. Yeah, remember these patterns are only like 65%, right? There wasn't there just wasn't a ton to say that it was going to hold, because we had this trend line. It came and closed back below. We did get the short call here, so the indicators nailed that one also. I mean, I'm telling you, the Harmonic Tracker Pro is literally the best one we've ever made. And so we came down, right? And so again, we had another potential shoulder head, right? But the shoulder came down, collapsed, acted as a resistance, and down we went. So that's kind of how that played out. Some little minor bullish divergences along the way, and each one, if you think about it, it's funny because I have somebody who commented, they're like, oh, bullish divergence, but it still went down. Keep in mind, I'm on the 2-minute, guys. So when you have bullish divergence here and it pushes down, that's just calling this. This is like a dollar something, $1.30 movement. That's huge on the SPY for scalping. Same thing here, right? Bullish divergence, bam. That's big money. You got this one right here, you had the bullish divergence. Didn't get quite as much, right? Didn't necessarily break it, but even if you took where it called the divergence from the bottom right here, right, where that divergence called, that's 446.15 all the way to 446.83. Y'all know when we scalp, that's like a, depending on your volume, between $200 to $500 trade. And then again, right, bullish divergence, it called that divergence because you had a higher low, you had a lower low here, and bam. So it definitely was on point. We did get a long call here. If you look at 446.46, and it did go to 447.50. So even though it's not a big push, right, not every call or that the indicators make is going to be this long, right? It's just not going to, but it does pick up those potential shifts. So that played out really well. And then we ended up ending the day with a short, which you can see as, it's like $1 below that. So this indicator is just absolutely like a money printer. But let's talk about where we go from here. So I'm going to go to the 1 hour. I am going to mute the Harmonic Tracker Pro just to give us a little better visual, because as we talk about, we know it can be a little loud. So we had this red line that we've been following for some time. We have this white line that I put down kind of as our kind of low that we could come down and hit. At the end of the day, we're still in this kind of falling wedge pattern. This breakout right here kind of throws that off. But if you notice, we broke out and we because of potential news, trying to trap the people, but we fell right back in. So at the end of the day, though, more importantly, what I'm looking at is, these levels here between that 443.94 and that 445 range, because we have just continued to wick up, right? We got the bullish wick, bullish wick, bullish wick. Now, you guys know my call like a while ago. I deleted the teal line that was here because I accidentally moved it and I just didn't put it back. Was that we were going to get somewhere between that 443.90 to 444. And you can see that, we're really close even in the pre-market. So with that said, I would just be careful, if the pre-market opens and we do pull down like this, watch for support here. If we start to see a double bottom, inverse head and shoulder, any kind of support, right, we could get another pretty big push north off of this. And then what I want to see is, you guys all know, when we do follow like a falling wedge or something like this, we're not looking for the breakout, we're looking for the retest, because the breakout sometimes, like here, could just be a trap move, right? And so we want to see if it does hold like this, right, comes up here, breaks out, and then comes down, retests that line, holds support, that's when the next breakout north is going to go. That's what you want to watch for. Now, as far as the bearish side of it, if we open up down here and we get some really crazy push because of news or whatever, and we start to go below 443.90, then I'm looking for that resistance to try to hold. Also keep in mind, we have on the 1 hour, this is the 21 SMA, we have the 200 EMA, and so we literally just had that death cross there. So we may see a range push up as high as 447.64. I would look to, if you're taking some calls or whatever, that's where I would tighten up that stop loss to get out for the scalp, because you might get a rejection off of that before it decides to break above it. But if you're wanting to take the puts, right, because you think that we're going down, this is a great level to have re-entries. So if we open up the market, let's say we open up the market and we push north like this, right? And let's say you don't feel comfortable with that call, just wait till that mark up here, because you have the trend line, you got the EMAs, the SMAs, right? And then you can scalp that put back down. At the end of the day, we just been ranging, right where we are, and this 451, kind of range, 452, and so I'm a big fan of, when in doubt, zoom out. Y'all hear me say that a lot. I said back here that we would begin to start our descent. We did. So far we've created a lower high, not once but twice, and so there's a chance that we might see a continued push to create that lower low. What I'm looking at though is why I keep saying watch the bounces. You can see here we had heavy resistance. So we have a gap fill here, so somewhere between that 443.10 and kind of 444 is going to be tested as heavy support. And if it does, we could see that push back up again to around this side over here where the 447 was, or even as high as that 448, right? We may just range here for a little bit before we either break above it. Now, if we break above this 448, then we got definitely a nice push to 451. If we break below that 444, and we begin to act as resistance, that fall's coming. It's going to go probably to about 436 or so. So that's the range that I would play on the SPY. We'll talk more about it in the room. Again, we had a lot of bullish divergence coming through. Overall from a longer term, stretch, right, you can see we're getting continuous higher lows in the 1 hour, and we're getting continuous lower lows. Typically, it's a sign, that a bounce might be coming. So I would be very careful on this pullback. Let me see if I can find another example where this happened. Yeah, here's one, actually two, really. So you can see how here, right, we call it bullish divergence. Now, it's easy to see this, but look familiar, right? We had our crazy fall, or we got our divergence, and this is only two, right? We have like four, and then out of nowhere, we pumped from 393 to 407, right? So you can see same thing here, right? You got the bullish divergence, bam, it came up. It doesn't mean it's gonna come instantly, because remember, we're on the 1 hour chart. It could take, next Wednesday, right? But just be really careful, because we are in that lower area. We are getting a lot of that bullish divergence, and it's holding support. The only thing that could break that would be news. So again, I think we're going to come down here in the 430 range. Yeah, I do. For sure at some point here. I just don't know if it's going to be a direct shot, or it's going to be, come down here, hit our support, we shoot back up to about 450. We hit this kind of upper, I think this one moved on me. I had it right there. So we come up and we hit this upper trend line around 449, and then just straight down, right? That could be what is going to play out too. So that's what we'll be watching kind of in the room. But just play the range. We just been continuously scalping and playing that range. So, and if you want more TA on that, like I said, guys, you guys should be in with us during our live trading. Some people message me and they ask why, how come we don't record the live trading and all that. Guys, when we're in there in the live trading room, it's just a trading floor. We're not. I do a lot of teaching, but it's not constant teaching, right? I'm more answering questions, but we talk about some personal stuff sometimes, and we laugh, we joke, so it's not really I don't want people to feel uncomfortable. Some people get uncomfortable when they feel like they're being recorded, right? And so that's not the purpose of that. And so I understand people work and all that, but even if you can jump in and listen, even if you jump in once a day, just do what you can to try to get in there. We typically spend just a few hours there in the morning. I do that purposely because I don't want people trading all day long. But today's gonna be a great day. See, and you can see we're already getting that little bit of a bounce right off of that wick zone. So let's see where we open today. It's gonna be exciting. Let's talk a little bit about. I'll just kind of briefly touch on these stocks. TikTok, you might miss them because I don't want to keep turning my iPad here. But if you're following along with Apple, Apple's just holding its range between 177 and 181 or so. At quick look, it's what I talked about. If you look back in June, it was a pretty heavy support. So when I had covered Apple on Monday, I said that I would look for that range to play to hold, and so far it has. If we break that level of support, 170 is the next big level of support. You can kind of ride that down, right? But if we begin to really show some strength in here, then I would suspect a pump, possibly as high as 185 for Apple. Google. So Google's interesting because y'all remember when was it? Monday. Let me go back here. I'm on the daily. I was like, how that is too far. All right. So Google is one that I had said. I think it was last week or something. I said that it looked a little more bullish, and we did have that bullish push. Let me expand it because it's hard to see it, I'm sure, with that. This was the trend line that I said watch for, right? Because you had the two wicks here. And you can see so far it's respected that, right? So if you took these plays, right around here is when I said that it was looking fairly bullish. I think it was Monday, actually. Yeah, right here. So Monday. And we had that push, right? So that's a nice little scalp, $2 movement or so. So far it's rejected off of that trend line a few times here. So, definitely a little bit of room to pull back, but this would be that trend line. I mean, it's a super basic trend line. If I would take calls if I break above this and I see the push. Our indicators in a short, you can see it's been pretty good, short, long, and then we're in a short, right? So I'd be really careful on the calls on Google for now. I think that that play is already passed as far as scalping goes, guys. Like I said, remember we scalp in our room, so I'm just kind of skimming to see if I see anything interesting here. So Amazon so far has followed this wedge that we had drawn like Monday, I think, back here. So this has just been great scalping central as well. I'll bet you Amazon's going to pull back through this wedge somewhere into that 136 range, and then it's going to hit off this 200 EMA, and that's going to push it and break this wedge. So this is where I would a nice clean confirmed bounce off that 200 would be a great call to play, because not only you have the pattern but you have the EMA. You can make some money on that. If it collapses this wedge with some steam and it gets below this 200, then you want to be really careful with that call. I wouldn't jump the gun too early on it. All right, I'm gonna jump into Bitcoin. So I do get a little crypto in here for people that are trading it. Crypto. I'm on the daily. Let's go to the 1 hour. I was like, that does not look right. All right, so just a quick glance with crypto. We did talk about this trend line. It did have the rejection 1, rejection 2. We are still purple on the top on the gap fill. We do have bearish possible gap fill that needs to come through. It's taken into account, this pump here, right? So it's kind of already began. We definitely have some room that we can go down, but we'd have to break this 200 EMA right now. I mean, right now you look at it, we're just in the squeeze between the 21 SMA and the 200 EMA. This squeeze happens. That's a lot. That's why I like to use those two EMA and SMA. And so you can see the squeeze is really playing out. So it's going to pop one way or another. Right now it's currently above the 21 SMA, so we might see one more kind of hoorah north. But yeah, if you're below the 200 EMA on the 1 hour, that's when I would take my short scalps. If you're above it and above the SMA, I'd be really careful on your shorts. Although we got this bearish gap fill, it doesn't mean it's going to play out right away, because again, we're on the 1 hour. So we could see, one more little kind of hoorah north to 29.6, 29.7, maybe even up to this wick here before that gap fill plays out like that. So, but at the end of the day, we do have kind of that double top. So a retest back down to 28.8 would not shock me whatsoever. but we do have a little bullish divergence here that it called, and we have not seen that play out. So we'll see where that goes. Let's talk about this SPY on the ATA. So apologize. So okay. So here was the day yesterday, guys. I know if you ran the ATA, you may look at it and go, wait a minute, I didn't have 3 trades, I had 2. So I had the ATA set to stop at 2 o'clock. Part of what I said yesterday in the huddle, as well as in the morning, is if I happen to see the ATA take some good trades, at least 2, then I'm going to make the decision to probably call it slightly early, and that's what I did. So we had our stop candles here. It did take a nice TP 2 on this one here, and then came over here, and we took that call there, and then this was the put that we did not take. Now this put fired at about 1 o'clock. You know, this right here, these 2 trades were really good. So for Goliath, I think it was around like $300 and something. And so I didn't want to take any risks on that with it being a news day. I mean, you know, you got to know when to take your wins, right, and go. And that's what we did. So this one would have been a good one, but I'll tell you, I talked to some people in the room about this. Although this looks appealing and people have the fear of missing out, and they say, well, man, we missed that one. It's not a really big trade. This is 446.18 to 446.06, right? That's like a 12-cent movement. So you really wouldn't have made much on that. And a lot of people will ask, like, well, you know, why is that, right? But like we talked about, when you have your put, for example, and the candle comes down, this candle close is what tells it to it is okay to close it now, because we are in profit. We have a candle close in profit. Then it went over to the green one and it shot north. So let's say it closed it right there on touch, right, which is how we have the setting. By the time it sent it and filled it, there's no guarantee that you actually filled it right at there. So even if it pushed up a little bit, right, you're talking about you know, a few dollars for an Ultron, or maybe $20 for, you know, Goliath. So although it looks pretty, it's still a win, it's still green, I get it, but we had a good day, you know. Let's enjoy that good day. So let's take a look at what do we want to do today. That is the moment of truth. So today, look at this, we're actually bleeding right to that line we talked about over here. Man, look at that push north and then that dump again. Let's go to, let's double check this again here. Yeah, see, look at that's the line we've been talking about to see if this holds. With this red line here, let's just kind of drag that down, and let's see if it creates a squeeze. So we may blow past this and come down here to get that 442.70 or so. This is that teal line that I was talking about. Or we may not even make that, right? It might do this, squeeze, and then bam, that bullish divergence plays out. So this divergence hunter is red still, so you know, we're still waiting to see if that's going to flip green on us. It's a tricky spot, guys. When I'm thinking ATA, I'm trying to decide here, because we are in a lot of support area, but I still think that we eventually are going to break it and come to this 443, right? So I'm not super convinced this is going to hold quite yet. I'm going to do the same thing I did yesterday in the room, and I'm going to start off passive with the calls. I don't think I'm going to yeah, I'll do calls and puts, but I'm gonna do passive on both of them, and then we're gonna push it back a little bit again to like maybe 10 o'clock, because today, guys, today is Friday. It's not the best day to trade typically anyways, and so I don't want to be too overly aggressive. I don't really want to trade 0-day contracts, so we're gonna put these as 3, not 63. So we'll do 3, call, SPY, Parabolic SARS. I'm gonna give it a little time to do it. We're gonna tighten the window up today because it is Friday. I'll give it till about 1 o'clock, but we are stopping all trades at 3:45. So win or loss, I don't care. That's when we're gonna stop those. We can do a strike price a little bit further because we are doing 3 days. That'll cheapen up the contracts a little bit. And the stop loss is going to be the same. And we're going to close trade our chart at 9:30. All right, so we're on the 1 minute. We're good. I don't think I have any of the alerts. Nope. So let's start that alert. I always put ATA in front just because it makes sure that it's on the top. Actually, let me do one thing real quick. Actually, I don't know that it matters, but I just want to be safe on it. I am on the extended hours because I was wanting to watch it. When you're setting up your ATA, it's important to make sure you're on the regular hours because you don't want the extra candles, because we only want it firing things during market open. So it's important to make sure that, I don't know if I've covered that much on there, so just a reminder, is you don't want it firing stuff on after hours because it could think it's in a trade, but it's really not, and it's going to reject it. So puts, pair blocks, R's, same thing. We'll go 3-day touch 10 o'clock. This will give me time to kind of assess it in market open, and I may make some adjustments. So we got that close and we're good. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and add this ATA. Oops, that's all right. ATA, I don't need it all. Put create. For those confused right now, this is our automated trading part. So these trades are initiated 100% automated. The funny part is I don't typically do trend lines or TAs on my charts here, so I'm probably going to delete these. But I was kind of showing somebody something yesterday, and so I was kind of drawing them out. But I'm going to remove all that because I like to keep a fresh screen. Don't be afraid to draw on it, because if I see something really clear, it doesn't hurt, because sometimes it's easier to see what this does with the clean screen versus when you got all the indicators in the mix here. So but I hope that helps you guys out. I'm going to talk also about the Tasty Trade. There was some confusion yesterday. So for those that are using Tasty Trade, it seems that I haven't had time to verify that, but I'm going to watch it really close today. Yesterday I traded my smaller account on TD Ameritrade, so I didn't experience it. But I guess the ticker was off. I know Tasty Trade did a update recently that was pulling their ticker data. There seems to be some extreme confusion of what that means for me or us, right? Our company or Alex. We do not use their ticker data. So we keep getting responses, and I've answered it a few different times in a few different ways in the community, but I get the same question back that we need to update something. We don't run Tasty Trade. It's not our exchange, right? It's not our brokerage. And so, we don't pull their ticker. If you look into the email that they're mass sending out to everybody, it's saying basically the streaming marketing data or whatever, right? And so that basically means that we are pulling from their site things like ticker or price or like the data that they give. We don't care about their data. We don't pull any data. Our data is transmitted from TradingView 100%. Now I get the question of like, what if the price is off and it doesn't match? On options, we don't pass through price, so we don't really care about the price specifically. We pass through strike price, and we pass through the date, right, and then the position direction, call or put. It's really that's the simple of how we send it to Tasty Trade. So what that means is, if let's say we're at 444.10, but let's say Tasty Trade shows we're at 445.10, right? If we send an order to open it, it's going to send that based on the percentage difference on the strike price. So it could make a difference on what that strike is, but it's not going to make much of a difference because of the way we round it. But at the end of the day, if the market drops, let's say 50 cents, whether it drops on TradingView or it drops on Tasty Trade, regardless of what that price shows on the differences, it doesn't impact our code, because if it drops 50 cents, it's still in profit. Remember, in options, you're not trading price, you're trading value of contracts. And so all we care about is the strike price, and we care about the value of the contracts. So people were going wild yesterday. Some people, I know live trading, it was messing you up. That's fine, but it does not change the ATA. The ATA is still doing it. I confirmed all the accounts yesterday. They all fired as they were supposed to. Everybody who was should have been in profit was in profit. It's just not going to impact it, because we trade value. We trade strike price. We don't care about the actual price. It doesn't matter. We care about the movement, and the value of the contracts. And the value of the contracts is still going to go up or down based on how that moves, regardless of what that price shows on tastytrade or on TradingView. So remember, separate the two. TradingView is what we use to chart. tastytrade is your actual exchange brokers that you're using to trade. So if you're live trading, right, you can still, just like the ATA, you can still use TradingView to chart, to take your calls, to take your puts. You just may have to adjust your strike price a little bit, right, depending what price the tastytrade is showing. I am going to trade my tastytrade account also with my TD Ameritrade account today, so I will watch that. But as far as my ATAs, I always get this question of, are you watching your ATA? Did your ATA do this? I made those ATAs so I don't watch it. We have alerts set up as far as protection, to let us know if something fired or did something that it shouldn't do. But if everything's working as it should, which it has been, I don't really look at it, guys. I just don't. I don't get caught up in that. That's why we made this. And so I let my tastytrade account typically run through my ATA now, and then I've been trading playing with some smaller accounts on TD Ameritrade, which I've enjoyed. But I'll watch it today. But I just wanted to explain those differences, guys. Don't freak out. I don't necessarily love the way that tastytrade does their API stuff, because they act as if everybody's their own individual API carrier or person of it, and so it sends these mass emails out to everybody saying, update your API, right? And so it keeps creating this mass panic, like we're supposed to do something. Trust me, we monitor it. If we need to do something with it, we'll do something with it. But in this case, we don't use their ticker. We don't care about their ticker. Our ticker comes straight from TradingView. Whatever TradingView's ticker is, that's what we use to find entries. That's what we use to find exits. We pass through strike price. We don't pass through actual price. So we don't really care what their ticker says. So I hope that clears up the confusion a little bit. I'm sure we'll have plenty of questions in the room, which is fine. But I wanted to do it here on the huddle because I feel like the more I type it out, it doesn't matter how I would say it, it was still seeming to confuse people. So I hope that helps you guys understand it a little bit. And I'll be in the live trading floor. If y'all want to come in today, 9:15, 9:30 when we're in here trading. We trade from 9:30 to about 11 each day. I'm happy to show you guys, explain it. Just most people that used to trade crypto and then they moved to options, they get confused of the difference between price action and value. So remember, we're charting price action, but we're trading value of contracts. So that's really all I got for you guys. So we have our ATA set up. It's gonna go. We're gonna make some more money today. Today is Friday, so I'm not gonna push to the limits. If we get one or two good trades in there like yesterday, we're gonna call it quits, right? Because then overall it was a good really net green week, and we'll hit the ground running next week. So let's have a great day trading today. Don't push it. If you are way up today and y'all have been following in the community or in the room, be selective on your trades. Don't just jump into stuff, right? Don't give it back on a Friday, because it's really difficult to fight trades on Friday. Every single trade at the end of Friday's market, I close it. I don't like. I've tried to fight them over the weekend. It's just I don't even want to think about it, guys. The only way I've ever held something through a Friday is if I see a clear opportunity and I take like a 10-day, 14-day contract, because I don't care about eating 2 days on that. But other than that, I close everything on Fridays. So, but I appreciate y'all's time. You guys have a great rest of your day. I'm gonna stop the stream here. TikTok. I'll hang out here